Hey, Schlepmo here to talk about running technique. Running's a pretty simple sport, but most people, even slow casual runners all the way up to competitive runners, make some serious errors with their technique, which if they improve, could dramatically improve their efficiency and their speed. So the first and most important thing about having proper running technique is to balance your center of gravity, okay? When we walk, that's simple because it's moving slowly, we're standing up tall, we have a long, elongated spine, and we're staying over our feet with every step. The problem with runners is, even when they're moving at a slow speed, they're moving their center of gravity all over the place and being really inefficient. You see joggers going down the street like this all the time, where their upper body's moving back and forth, and their legs are caving into the ground, rather than being balanced and tall when we run. So the first tip that we want to have is to have our hips and our shoulders facing forward at all times when we run, okay? So even when we're just running in place, the hips never swivel side to side, the shoulders and upper body never swivel side to side. They're always pumping forward, and your arms are like a choo-choo train, just pumping forward with all the effort coming from the shoulders. This is all relaxed here, and so all your energy is coming from your shoulders. And you can also try this when you're running in place too. I like to pick an angle with the arms, 90 degrees is good, and keep that angle, preserve that angle. So our first tip is above the waist. We're going to be tall at all times, elongated spine, and running with a balanced center of gravity. What this means below the waist is that we want to stay above our feet instead of reaching out too far, overstriding, having the leg reach way far back, having to correct. You can see my center of gravity going back and forth. And this even occurs at a slow speed with a jogger when they're going like this and their center of gravity is moving all over the place. So the first tip is stand tall, be balanced over your feet, and run with hips and shoulders always facing forward. Okay, so once we have our balanced center of gravity, that's the number one thing. Number two is what to do with our feet. And most people, when they run, lose out on a tremendous amount of energy, the explosive propulsion that our feet are capable of. Our feet are wonderful levers capable of spring and a lot of propulsion. And that's how we run fast. A lot of people think it's turnover, and faster turnover makes a faster runner. But as a matter of fact, even a recreational runner has this similar turnover to the world's fastest human, Usain Bolt. So it's not turnover, it's how much explosive force you can deliver off each stride that allows you to run fast. For example, Usain Bolt, when he's running the 100 meters, he has about 10 feet per stride because he's putting out so much force on the ground. So back to our feet. What we want to do is use our feet as the propulsive levers that they're designed as. By when we land, we have that nice midfoot landing. That's why we're using barefoot or minimalist shoes to really feel this. Midfoot landing, you actually allow your heel to touch the ground and then spring off. It happens really fast and it's hard to sense, but all you have to do is make a simple jump in the air and you can feel the explosive force that your feet are capable of generating. So I take a step and jump, and I can feel that propulsive force that my feet do. So we want to do the same thing when we're running each step. And the key to that is to be fast as possible on the ground and fast as possible off the ground. So when we hit the ground, rather than letting our weight cave in and keeping that leg on the ground for a long time, we want to flick right off it as fast as possible. And the way to get your foot back on the ground as fast as possible is to dorsiflex the foot when it comes off the ground. You can see my foot. This is in a flex position, dorsiflex position, as opposed to a lazy foot when you come up off the ground and just don't do anything with that ankle and lose out on all that force. So for example, you see most people run at any speed. They're running with lazy feet. Their feet are just dragging along for the ride. They're losing out on all this explosive force. And as a matter of fact, their feet are spending way too much time on the ground. So the image I want to create to get you thinking about what to do best with your foot reminds me of another sport, bicycling. You want to run in the same manner that you're pedaling a bike, where you're quick on the ground, quick off the ground. So if we envision, let's say we're running on hot lava, or we're pedaling a bicycle motion over hot lava. So it'll look like this, in contrast to that lazy foot demonstration I just did. Now we're having strong foot, and we're getting some propulsive force with each stride. And it looks like this. So I'm snapping my feet on the ground, and snapping my feet off the ground as fast as possible. On the ground, off the ground, as fast as possible. Okay? The thing about this is, obviously, when you're going fast and doing a competitive sprint, all the sprinters look like that, it looks great. But also when you're going slow, you have to teach your brain and your body to use the proper technique at all times. So I'm going to demonstrate going really slow, and you can see that I'm using the same technique, the same form as when I go fast, when I come back. So a slow jog no longer looks like this with lazy feet. It's fast feet, nice balanced center of gravity, running up tall in the air. And when I come back, I'm sprinting, it's the same technique, just more propulsive force with each stride. So it looks like this. Okay, now, once you have those keys in your mind about standing tall, being balanced over center of gravity, and by the way, when you stride, your pickup foot should track along the same plane as the leg on the ground, okay? So if you notice carefully, I'm actually staying over my feet even when I'm running fast. So when you have that key, the tall body, shoulders and hips facing forward, and foot acting like a bicycle, everything else is just drills to reinforce all this good technique. So I'm going to show you a few of my favorite drills, go through about 4 or 5 of them, maybe some advanced ones, and that'll give you a great sprint workout that you can do anytime that's not too strenuous, especially once you build up to it, and then once every 7 to 10 days, you open up the throttle and do a proper sprint workout. Okay. First drill we just call hopping, where you hop up, land on the same foot. A good way to open up the hip flexor, so I usually start with this one. Remember, tall, balanced stride, and after do a few of these, you can actually hold it for a beat. So you see I'm holding my leg for a beat. That's one variation. Or you can do faster turnover. So this helps me be more explosive off the ground. Next one I like to do is just called high knees. So we want to run with an exaggerated knee lift. That's again developing that ability for propulsive force. So it's high knees, but also high toes. That's making sure that my foot is flexed. So it's high knees, high toes. High knees, high toes. Coming back, we're going to do, they used to call them butt kicks, but people were doing lazy foot. So it's still heel to butt, but it's also high toe again. So we'll call this high heel, high toe. High heel, high toe looks like this. And of course, I'm not worried about how far forward I'm going. I'm just trying to get that turnover, keep that toe high, and get the heel as high as possible. So again, we have hopping to start with, high knees, high toes, high heels, high toes. And if you put that all together, that equals perfect sprint form. Here's some other fun ones that'll, again, help you with your propulsive force and keeping that foot flexed. This one's called bicycle, where every couple steps, you take off and do a bicycle revolution. So I'm taking off on my left foot every time, as you can see. Still trying to keep that toe high, okay? And then a little bit more advanced when you get in the rhythm, is you take off every other foot, every other step. So I'm taking off left foot, right foot. So it looks like bicycle, 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 bicycle. Okay, another advanced one, it's called kickouts. This is a favorite of many Olympic sprinters. You see Sandy Richards-Ross doing this on her TV show. It takes a while to acclimate the hamstrings to doing this, but what you do is knee to chest and then kick out. Knee to chest and then kick out. And once your hamstrings get strong, you can strive for more height and really get those hamstrings strong and flexible, because they're a big part of sprinting. So kick outs again. And you can start lower, but you want to go knee to chest first and then kick out. Another good one that's pretty difficult is to do the high knees, high toes, high heels running backwards. So the same principle apply. Unlike usual backwards running where people are just dragging their feet, that's bad form, just like it is when you're running forward, dragging your feet like a jogger and clanking around. So we're going to do everything high, going backwards. Looks like this. I'm keeping my toe high, heel high, and knee high. So if you put all that sequence together, that's a great workout. It'll get your feet moving quickly, get that bicycle pattern affixed into your brain, and you'll be sprinting great in no time. Thanks for watching Schlepmo. Have a great day.